Very good afternoon, everybody. Well, it is afternoon where I am. Oh, blue sky where you are, Martin.
Lovely blue sky. Lovely blue sky.
Welcome to A Kick in the Balearic. It's the Balearic blog and Zoomcast, where we talk about Balearic football. We're talking, of course, Real Mallorca, who play in La Liga Smart Bank. That's La Liga 2 to you and I. Also, Segunda B, where we have Atletico Balers and UD Poblense from Mallorca, and UD Ibiza and Penya Deportiva from Ibiza. Plus, we look at local football as well, how our local teams are doing. So, Mark, episode 13.
Unlucky for some, but not for us, Richie, because obviously our fama, as we say in Spain, our kind of fame is growing, isn't it? I think we're up to at least 50 views now, aren't we? So we've got a good following nowadays as well. And it was a great week last week, Richie, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, only let down really by UD Poblense, who lost their game. Everybody else did very well. I mean, I think sort of credit must go probably, I suppose, to Penya Deportivo. Really, they had the standout result of all our teams last week, which we'll come on to very, very shortly. But I wanted to start this week on Atletico Balers because I went to the game last Sunday.
Okay.
The first ever socially distanced football league game in the Balearics. I mean, they've all played friendly matches and everything else, but this was a proper league match with the crowd and everything else. So at least I thought it was very, very well organised. Actually, to be perfectly honest, I had to get there at 10:30 for 12 midday kickoff. I had my temperature taken, washed my hands, hand gel at the gate as you go in. All the refreshment areas were open. A big difference from La Liga 2 and La Liga is that they can serve proper beer instead of 0% beer that you get in Real Mallorca, for instance. So that was a bit of a plus. Although I didn't partake, of course, at 10:30 in the morning. But I did end up getting a bag of crisps, of course, as is my wont. And then, basically what happened was we were then put into seats by the stewards. Well, I say stewards, it was actually a steward. And the steward obviously became a not very popular person because all the Mallorquins that came along and wanted to sit in their seat that they'd obviously sat in for years and years and years, and that wasn't going to be the case because you had to socially distance. So basically what they were doing is putting people's in rows. So you had one row was seated, the next row empty, next row seated, the next row empty. And then also you had to have two seats free by the side of you, whatever size group you were. Me on my own, of course. Then I had two seats right-hand side of me and two seats to the left-hand side of me. So it was properly socially distanced. You'd probably think right now that, people I had to get back to live football, 7 months been out of live football and everything else, but the moans and groans from these people that they couldn't sit where they wanted. Some wanted to sit in the shade because it was quite a warm day on Sunday, of course. And some didn't want to sit in the sun. Oh, God, all manner of things. But I think it was tempered nicely by the fact that Atletico Balers went on to win 4-0. Yeah. And the team they played called Inter Madrid wasn't a great team, to be perfect. They had a player sent off in the 36th minute, which obviously didn't, sort of change the game. Funny enough, I'd actually made a note. I made some notes on the day, and I made a note. So the referee's actually not too bad in this game, which is unusual for Segunda B because they're normally absolute rubbish. And then I thought to myself at the end, hang on a minute, in a game that wasn't dirty, he sent off two players, and he only actually booked one other. Yeah. So it was just a bit of a strange, couple of decisions.
They do like giving the cards out in Segunda B, don't they, Richie? I mean, the standard. We spoke about the Spanish ref in the England match last week, and the standard of refereeing in Segunda B isn't the best. Let's just say that, shall we?
I do. I totally agree. Yeah, when you get to Segunda B, I'm not quite sure. I imagine these guys are paid. I don't know how much they are paid, but I imagine they're not paid that well. They're obviously paid for their expenses and everything else. But apart from that, I don't know.
Who want to be a referee, Rich?
No, not really. No, it's not on the job that I would want, particularly someone like me on the sideline. But anyway, I was interested to know why they were allowed fans in, and something we've talked about before in the past. In Spanish football, how does all the leagues work and how do they do them? It was very difficult to work it out. So I eventually came across something that sort of gave me quite a nice little description of how it all works out in sort of minute detail. La Liga is the highest level in Spanish, as we know. It's governed by the Liga de Football Profesional, which is also known as the LFP. They also look after Segunda Division that we, Real Mallorca play in, which is we know as La Liga Smart Bank. And then when you get to Segunda Division B, the third highest level in Spanish football, it's governed by the Real Federación Española de Football, which is called the RFEF. And that's going to be replaced next year in 2021 by the Primera RFEF. The Tercera Division is the fourth highest level in the Spanish Football League system, and that's also operated by the RFEF, and 17 regional federations after that. Now, this RFEF created a new division, as we know, from 2021 between Segunda and Segunda B. It's various Spanish media have tended to be called this the Segunda Division B Pro. That's what that's going to be called. And then the federation officially named the third tier the Primera Division RFEF. So it's all a bit of a muddle, but we got there in the end. So there you go.
We spoke about it before, Rich. I think there's a branding issue here, by the way, because you're talking La Liga and you're talking Primera, aren't you? So I really think, like the English did well because they've got distinct, Premiership, Championship, distinct brandings. This is terrible, Richie. This is really terrible because I still don't know about La Liga Smart Bank because that says nothing, does it? It should be Segunda, then we should go down to Tercera, and then we should go down to Quarto. But obviously the powers that be aren't quite on point there as well. So, a bit of a strange one, but I think any kind of streamlining of the very complicated Spanish football system is good. Because at the moment, there's too many regional teams, there's too many there's too many playoffs. They need to get, and I think what they're trying to do, Rich, isn't they're making 3 professional divisions, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's the bottom line. At the moment, some Segunda B teams are professional, some aren't. It's a bit of a hodgepodge. But I think what they're trying to do is make 3 professional leagues to take on the pyramid the pyramid that the UK has, or should I say the English people have, is what everyone's trying to look for, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see when obviously they get to that stage that, as you well know, the teams in La Liga and La Liga 2 or Smart Bank or Segunda, whatever you want to call it, all play on grass. But when you get down to Segunda B, the majority of the teams actually play on AstroTurf, although Balearic actually do play on grass, to be honest with you. It's a beautiful. I think they've done their stadium fantastically, but the majority play on AstroTurf, and I'm not sure, and I don't think they are allowed when they move up, a little bit like into the league system in the UK, that they can't actually play on AstroTurf because it gives them an unfair advantage.
I don't know about that, mate. You'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I agree.
Tell me, Richie, just go back to the Atletico Balearic game. You got in at 10:30, yeah? Was that because you were pressed or because of the new rules?
I think it was both. I think they encouraged the fans to get there as early as possible. Okay. Not everybody did, of course, because that's the problem started to occur in the last half an hour when, the Spanish, would be late for their own funerals. We know that. Will turn up late and then want to sit in the seat that they have normally sat in. And by that time, of course, the majority of the people are already in and sat down.
See, so for me, an hour and a half before the game, Richie, that's kind of turns me off a little bit because I like to arrive 10, 15 minutes before, especially in Segunda B, where there's always empty stadiums per se, if you know what I mean. So, I understand if it's a Premier game or a La Liga game as well, but I understand as well that people have got to get there early because they've got to get organised. But an hour and a half sounds a little bit extreme.
To be honest, you're right. It was a bit too long. I mean, I found things to do. It was good to watch the warm-ups and everything else, but in reality, I'd turn up half an hour, 20 minutes before a game would normally start, because there's nothing much else to do, really, to be perfectly honest, and sit in your seat and there's no entertainment around the foyers or anything like that when you go to a UK ground. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Should we talk about football, Richie? I mean, how was the game?
The game was, listen, at the end of the day, Balearic thoroughly deserved their 4-0 win, to be honest with you. I mean, they went down to 10 men in 36 minutes. So by that time, they were already 2-0 up anyway. So, listen, they thoroughly deserved the win. I wasn't that impressed with Inter Madrid at all. So let's see, how it all goes the next game they play. So, you don't know half of these teams. That's the problem right now. So you're sort of, you're shooting in the dark.
Do you think Atletico Balers laid down a marker there, 4-0 first match?
Yeah, of course. If you look at all the other results, I think all the other results, nobody bettered that result in that league, that particular league itself. So let's see. As I say, it's first game, and we've said it since we started this. Don't lose your first game. Even if you have to draw, just get a point on the board, and it'll give you a good start. So yeah, look, they looked impressive. They look like they've got a good side together. The new manager, new goalkeeper, lots of new players out there. The crowd seem to love our mate, the Tank. up front. He's a big old lump up there, and he's not that mobile, I'll be perfectly honest. But he did get a goal. And
sounds like you back in the day, Richie. Not very mobile.
Yeah. But so that 35-yarder that he hit in Ibiza one year, mate, you never going to better that. But more importantly, I think, listen, he scored a goal, he got off the mark, and he sort of, you can tell he's going to be a crowd favourite because he does put himself about a bit as well.
Yeah, good. I mean, it was good also as well. UD Ibiza got a good win as well. They had a player sent off as well. Ricardo got sent off in about the 80th minute, I think, as well. So they did well to hold on there as well. But they scored in the first minute and they kind of held on. So I think those two are going to be the ones to watch out for, as they were last year, by the way. So I think they're the ones that we have to keep an eye on as well. Shame about UD Poblense. They might find it tough, Richie. I don't know a lot about them, but the fact that they scraped in last year, got there, they might, because it's only a small town in the north, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, Sao Paulo, home of the potato mart. If you want anything to come from Sao Paulo apart from the football team, it's the potato. Yeah, well, exactly.
Let's hope that they don't play like a load of potatoes this season, then, Richie, because...
No, it's not a bad little ground. My son, he's not played there, but he had a presentation there one year for a football tournament, and so we have been up there. And I think I've said in this, I'd like to go up and see one of their games. It'd be interesting to actually go along and have a look. Look, they were Atletico Madrid B. I imagine they're probably a lot of youngsters, but good youngsters of a high standard, I'd have thought. And to go away and lose 1-0.
Richie. Tough game first up, that is. Hello, 1-0. They're going to be,
But 1-0 is not a bad result, I don't think, to be honest with you. It's pretty good. So listen, for Poblense and for Baleares, Baleares got a bit of a test, I think. Rayo Majadahonda, not a bad side. They haven't been in the past. Yeah. Not what they're going to be like this year, but that's their next game.
Majadahonda, I've seen Majadahonda a couple of times, mate. They're a very organised unit, by the way, very organised. So I wouldn't be writing them off just yet, pal.
No, I agree, and it'll be good. I think it'll be a good test for Baleares. I'm just looking to see what their score was last week. They won away last week in Getafe. Getafe's beating by 2-1. So so they're battling it out, both of them, because they won their first games. And UD Poblense have got a home game against San Sebastian next week. San Sebastian, who lost at home to Naval Carnero last week. That could be, a result they could get a home win for Poblense. So your two teams, I have to apologise to your two teams last week. I mentioned that I didn't think they were playing, and then I don't know why it didn't come up my fixture list, to be perfectly honest. But obviously they were, and both got a 1-0. Well done.
Yeah, two great results, mate. I think the big one was Penya's result. Really, I know it was a home game. But Villarreal, any of those top kind of league sides, they don't come just to make up the numbers, Richie. They've got a lot of young players pushing for places in the first team, so they're always on parade, So for Penya to get that result, massive really, because that just kickstarts their season as well. I mean, they've got Valencia away this weekend, so a 0-0 or a 1-1 will be a good result there as well, because first up you've got Villarreal, second you've got Valencia. I mean, these are tough games, aren't they? So I'll be interested to see what happens to Penya this weekend, but fingers crossed they can get a draw. As we mentioned with UD before, they scored in the first minute. They had a player sent off. They hung on. A bit of a buzz about UD now, because that's a really good start to the season. They've got Nuthia this weekend at home, so their first home match. I won't be going because I'm busy this weekend. I've got other things to do, unfortunately. But I will be close. I'll be watching it on TV or on Twitter, which is always interesting, watching games on Twitter.
Yeah, it is.
I think, first home match, Nuthia. I don't know a lot about Nuthia, mate, to be honest. However, I've got a feeling that it could be a good win for UD.
Let's hope so. As I say, we want our teams to do well. It's important that they can get themselves through this first section, runs to the middle of March, and then we look at the second when it all starts to become a little bit a little bit more interesting, I think, when we get to the next bit. A quick look at Tercera, because obviously Tercera started, and that's two leagues, or one league split into two, of which SD Portmany got a win. Away.
Yeah, great win, mate. We got a 2-1 win away at local rivals Ibiza Penya, which are a bit of a feeder team, I believe, for UD as well. So because they share a lot of common things there. So really big win for Portmany, looking good.
And listen, we can't really go into too much because obviously we don't really know too much about the teams. I mean, Formentera winning 6-3 at S1E13 was a good result for Formentera as well. So well done to them. Probably got the worst of it. They have to travel to every single away game.
Bini Salem this weekend, mate, which is one of your.
Bini Salem. Yeah. Not a bad little side. Nice. Well, they're at home. I take it. Are they Formentera? Bini
Salem, yeah.
Yeah, played there. It's nice, as I say. The good thing about I enjoy when I go around to these clubs is just visiting all the villages and towns that you go to and see, which you wouldn't normally visit really in the course of your working life. But when you're out and about watching football, it's great. It's great to see all these different places. I think.
Can I just say this is a football show, not a travel show, just to let you know.
Yeah, Mark. I'm telling you, it's only because I then go and find all the decent cafes, right, and get a nice decent sandwich and a coffee. That's the only reason. I'm not there for sightsee.
I'm really wondering. Well, the thing is, when Bini Salem and all those kind of Mallorquins, they play Formentera, they've got to get the flight over in the morning, then they've got to go to the port, get on the boat, get the boat over to Formentera, then get a coach from the port to the ground and back again as well. So it's a hell of a day that is for the opposing teams. Is that why Formentera are very good at home? I'm not sure, but
possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way to come, even for the Balearic side. But
it sounds like a great day out, though, Mark.
It's a really. Formentera is lovely this time of year as well. There's no one around. It's beautiful, so it's always good to see. But that's that. I mean, it was a great result to 6-3 away from home for Formentera in the first game of the season. Really good.
Okay, so let's get on to. We haven't mentioned Real Mallorca. We always start normally with Real Mallorca, but I thought we'd leave them to the end this week. Well, they got a 0-0 draw last weekend away in Mirandés. Everything's sort of pretty much going to what we talk about every week. Can't score many goals, but don't concede either. So it was a 0-0. They got a player sent off. Sastry got sent off in the 75th minute. But apart from that, pretty dour game. I've watched the highlights. There aren't that many to be perfectly, and it was 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that was about it. Really, it wasn't really much to report.
Tell you what's interesting about this match, Richie. I haven't seen the highlights, to be honest, pal. But I'm just looking at the breakdown. Is that Mallorca seemed to have 4 yellow cards in the first 50 minutes. Yeah, then they had a sending off, and then they're making several substitutes as well. It looks like they've really worked hard for this point, by the way. I think they've dug in by the looks of things. I'm just from the breakdown from the stats from the match. It looks like they've really dug in. 15 minutes ago they've lost a player as well. So they've dug in. We say it every week, Richard. I think every point matters in La Liga Smart Bank.
Yeah.
And I think away from home, if you win your home matches and draw your away matches, you're going to go up.
And it's Mallorca's best start ever. Any time they've played in this league, they've not started as well. So that's good going forward. Interesting enough, Espanyol lost their first game of the season last weekend. They lost away in Rayo Vallecano, which is the team that beat Mallorca, if you remember, the first game of the season. So that sort of tightened up at the top of the league. Although Espanyol played last night. Or yesterday afternoon, actually, and beat Mirandés, the team that Mallorca just played, by 2-0. And tonight, Mallorca play Albacete. It's a kick-off at 7 o'clock in the evening. So much, of course, still behind closed doors. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to go. But, as I think I've said before, I think I got from when I spoke to Atletico Balers after the game, with all the new stands that they've got behind each goal and the new stand they built, just over 4,200 is their capacity now. So if you think that 1,000, it was a quarter, 25% more or less of their capacity that they got into the ground last Sunday. So you take that to Mallorca and you're looking at 4,000 or 5,000, which would be could easily socially distance in that particular stadium, the way it's built. Do you know what I mean? So let's just hope.
We need it. Come on,
yeah,
get there.
we do.
Some football. Albacete, what's your feeling tonight, man? I see Albacete last but one.
Last but one, yeah.
Last but one, aren't they? Second to bottom. 4
1-1 draw, 1
games. Exactly. 1-1 drawn, 1 lost, 4. It's got to be a home win, Richie, hasn't it? It's got to be.
You'd like to think tonight, Mark, that they could actually get some goals on the board. The goals on the board will be so sort of interesting going forward. Give the team a bit more confidence in front of the goal. Because as I keep saying, the strike, none of us scored a goal yet. We're 5-6 games in here, and our strikers haven't scored a goal. It's like we've scored 4 and conceded 1, I think it is, so far. So it's. It's not great. Listen, on the other end, you've got to look at the defensive side and think that's fantastic. Don't concede many. That's great. But if we start to concede and we're still not scoring, that's going to become a problem. In the long run. But tonight, listen,
you scored 4 goals in 6 games, haven't you? Yeah? We've won
exactly 4 and conceded 1.
Yeah, so
and don't forget 2 of those were penalties as well.
Yeah, I know, and obviously your Rodriguez is your top scorer, who's a defender. Is he a defender or midfielder?
No, he's a midfield player. Salva Sevilla scored the other penalty, and Valiant scored the other goal. So our strikers haven't scored yet. I mean, let's hope it's it. Cardone, I think, is the guy that we're all looking at and thinking that he came from Osasuna.
So what you think?
I think so. Hopefully,
what are you saying tonight, Richie?
3-0 to the Mallorca. We're going for it. Come on.
Calm down, son. Calm down. I'm going to go 2-0 home win. I think you're going to get another penalty because that seems to be your best route. And I'm going to go, if Cardona plays, I'm going to go Cardona to get a scrappy goal and set him off for the season.
Yeah, that's good. And obviously, that's the game tonight because obviously they've got midweek games right now. And then you could go away again next weekend. I think one of the last games to be played next weekend. They're away in Alcorcon next weekend. So that's Sunday. Oh, no, it's actually Monday. This is the game that they've changed to Monday. It's a bit of a mess right now. They keep changing the days and times and God knows what's going on. I think you remember last week they changed the Lugo game from Monday to Sunday because there was an argument going on whether they could play on a Monday or not. And now they've just changed the Alcorcon game to a Monday. So it's a bit ridiculous what's going on. But anyway, that's the bar.
With the greatest respect to everybody as well, there's a lot of games to cram in, isn't there? I mean, we saw the Champions League last night as well. There's a lot of games. All top flight teams are playing weekend, midweek, aren't they? So, I do have a little bit of sympathy, but they probably need just to stick to the format, don't they?
And finally, then last weekend, my son finally got off the mark playing a game last Saturday against Penya Araba. It was a 0-0 draw, but it was a good 0-0 draw. We missed a penalty. They had a couple of good chances. I'd say 0-0 was a fair result, and we were able to watch the game. But there's an interesting thing that's going on over here. That's part of the club that my boys play at San Francisco. San Francisco, one of the only teams right now not allowing parents in to either watch training or any of the games.
Why? Why,
mate? They're saying it's because of the COVID situation. They're being told by the certain people that it would be better that it's not. I don't know if you know our stadium. We have there's 2 stadiums side by side. Juventud play one side, San Francisco play the other. On the other side, they allow the parents in to watch training. They allow the parents in to watch the game to a certain percentage. The FFIB have said that 75% of your official capacity can be allowed in to watch games, and it's less. I can't remember the exact number. I think it's about 35 people more or less are allowed to watch training at any one time. I think that's correct. So it seems like a bit of a strange decision by the club right now because. Obviously the parents aren't happy, particularly the parents with the young ones that want to watch their kids, particularly because they can't watch their kids even playing a game because they're not allowed to play games right now because of the rules. They're not even allowed to watch training. So what's happening is the daft situation is that people are going around the other side of the main stand and looking over. There's like a mound on the back of the main stand. You can watch the games from there, and that's what all people are doing. If you go online and you Google San Francisco football, whatever, you'll see there's a picture of all the parents on this mound watching their boys play. It's a bit daft. It's a strange situation. Ibiza were there last night taking interviews with parents and everything else on the club's behest. The club were there, with them, asking them to make comment. But the club say that they're in a difficult situation, but listen, I was at Penya Arabal last weekend. It was managed well. You know, everybody was told to socially distance. You all wore your masks and everything else. It wasn't a problem.
I mean, I watched my son train last night. No problem at all. Everyone was social distance. Everyone had masks in as well. Sounds like a bit of a cop-out from San Francisco, mate, I've got to say. Sounds to me as if they're not to put the hard yards in and make the decisions which, you know, it's a parent's right to watch their children, isn't it, mate? You know, I don't want to start getting on my high horse, but, you know, you want to go and watch your kids, don't you?
Yeah, of course. You look, for someone like me, you know, I travel, it takes me 25, 30 minutes to get there every night. A lot of the parents do go home because they live in Palma. I don't, you know. There's another guy that comes 45 minutes, you know, and he's not going to go home. There's no point, you know. So what does he do? What do you do? Sit in your car. You know, you can't really do anything else.
Also, Richie, what I don't like, it's a lot of these rules and regulations. If some teams are doing it and some teams aren't, I want to know why they're not doing it, because there's no reason. You know, you've got to be pretty straight all the way through. You know, if you're allowed to go and watch them, go and watch them. If nobody's allowed, that's fair enough. But it's not fair that some parents like me can watch my children and some parents like you can't watch their children.
Well, the strange thing is, Mark, we're playing Penya Arabal, sort of return game, because this is a cup competition that's been organised, so the guys can start playing games, because the rules said that they couldn't play friendlies. So what the league decided to do was organise a cup competition in inverted commas, so it became official. So we're playing home and away against Penya Arabal, like we're going to be doing in the league against all the other teams. And so, but the Penya Arabal mums and dads can't go and watch their boys play next weekend. It's a very, very strange thing. I don't understand. I don't know if the club will give in before Saturday. Let's see.
I hope so. My son's got an interesting game this weekend, Richie. You might like this one, actually, because obviously my son plays for the Portmany under-13s, I think it is. So it's Infantil Segunda, is it?
Infantil first. Segunda, probably, yeah.
Segunda, yeah. Okay. They're playing as a same thing as well. You know, there's a bit of an issue about friendlies and stuff. So is it a friendlies or not? I don't know. I'm not going to get into politics. But they're actually playing the San Jordi feminine side, okay?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the feminine side, the kind of adult side. So from 15 to 20. And San apparently, I don't know the San Jordi side. I haven't seen it before, but apparently they're pretty good. So it's going to be interesting that you're going to get 13-year-old kids playing against like maybe 20-year-old ladies as well. So it's a really interesting one, that one as well. I think, you know, technically the boys might be better, but I think physically the girls might be. Sounds strange to say this, but I think physically the girls might be bigger and tougher. So let's see what happens there. And I think it's a really nice, you know, thing that's happening. So hopefully it'll be a good match and we can all exchange shirts at the end of the match.
Good luck with that one. Yeah, exactly. Listen, don't forget you can follow our Zooms and podcasts on all our social media, Kicking the Balearics on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. This Zoom will be out. Are we putting it out today, Mark?
Yeah, it'll be out this afternoon, maybe before the match tonight. So, yeah, we'll put it out a bit later.
And then the pod will be out tomorrow for you. So, listen, everybody, have a good week. We'll be back, obviously, of course, next week. Let's hope our teams have done well. And 3-0 to Mallorca tonight. Come on, Mallorca.
2-0 for me, but listen, come on, Mallorca.
See you next week.
Cheers, Reg.